Before we get started, would you like to tell everybody in the room what it is you do?
I run Cork Ghost Tour. An actor, kind of comedian, kind of lots of different things. But I run Cork Ghost Tour. I think that's the reason I'm here tonight anyway.
Yeah. And what exactly is Cork Ghost Tours, if you had to describe it to someone who's never been?
It's all about Cork. It's about the stories of Cork and the horrible histories of Cork, and also about the ghosts of Cork. But it's quite comic and has an odd little slant to it.
And an odd little slant, in what meaning?
In that, I suppose that's just the way I do it. So I'm used to performing to people. So when I'm doing the ghost tour, while you're watching me, I'm watching you. And I'd start playing and spotting people and kind of bouncing off the people. So there's no fourth wall. So there's kind of this little bit of interaction, a little bit of improv throughout the tour. Now I have my set pieces, but I bounce them differently depending on who's in front of me.
And you have like quite a distinct get-up as well. I'm pretty sure a lot of people here will have seen you around and probably wouldn't recognize you without the top hat. What was the story behind that?
I suppose I decided to costume myself to do the tour from the get-go. And so I kind of wanted to look some bit like from the 1800s or something like that. And also, I suppose, because I trained as an actor and stuff, it's always helps to put on a costume.
Yeah.
And when I walk out and I'm in the costume and people see me in the costume, the very first day I went out, I was really nervous because I'd never done it before and had spent a long time preparing the piece. And I was like, oh, is this going to be shite? Am I going to be in trouble? So I started walking down into my position and everybody started smiling at me on the street. And I was like, okay, hold on. This is a good start.
Yeah.
So
they either think you're an entertainer or crazy. One or the
other. Like, oh yeah, the kids run up to me all the time. Do a trick. I'm not a magician. I can't do a trick. I'm sorry.
You do look magician-ish though. That is, I do understand where it's the top hat, I think, more than anything.
I should get a deck of cards or something.
Have you ever pulled a rabbit out of the hat?
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe one day a ghost rabbit. What was it that started your interest in the paranormal? How did that come about? Because I've interviewed. You said you know him as well. We had Kieran McCarthy on before. Who does like history tours, and that to me, I kind of understand that immediately because you have an interest in history. But like paranormal tours is something I didn't even really know was a thing until I saw yours. Like, how did that idea come about?
I actually fell into it accidentally. I was doing a completely different thing before. I was doing these tapas trails and drinking wine and taking people around, and I loved this. It was just great crack wandering around to people and chatting to them and doing the thing. And then I wanted to do something on the street because I enjoyed bouncing off of people and I enjoyed the street. And ghost tour just seemed to happen. It was like, what will we do? Well, we'll do a ghost tour. So we ran with this. And not really a lot of forethought went into that. We just banged into it and shot forward.
That is brilliant. And is the idea of a ghost tour, when you came up with it, did you have a few locations in mind immediately?
No, I walked the whole city. I walked the whole place.
Oh, really? You did like a little...
Yeah, I did. I did a lot of recon.
Did you meet any ghosts?
I met a lot of characters.
Most of them alive.
For now. Yeah, so I walked the whole place and I settled on Shandon. Because I love Shandon. It's a complete rabbit warren of a place. And even the name Shandon, Old Fort. And it's like...
Is that what it means?
Yeah, Shandon, Old Fort. So even when the Irish named it, they named it the Old Fort. So there was an old castle there, and the Celts and the clans are probably living up there. They wouldn't live down here. This is Cork Moon the Moon, the great marsh of Munster. This is a bog. This is liminal space. So like there would have been water outside the window. Probably still is. Actually, there is down here. The Colkey right outside. There's water everywhere.
Yeah, it's the greatest bog in the world, but you're right.
Yeah. The Californians are vacationing in a bog.
Yeah.
You need to know it.
Yeah. But unless for the Californians, just tell everybody you love Cork. It's the best city in Ireland. Yeah? Thank you. So that's very interesting. So Shandon, is the whole thing kind of set around Shandon then, or?
Take off from the city centre and head up around there because it's just because some of the streets from the 1700s, you see these little tiny doors because people were smaller in the 1700s.
Yeah.
We're all supersized now.
Yeah,
and you could have had 15 or 16 per house as well. Like you turn over, another baby pops out. So like very populated up there. It's quiet in Shandon now, and they're not dealing butter anymore. It used to be butter. It's different deals now. But yeah.
The blue ghost.
The blue ghost. I meet a lot of them.
Yeah, that's a deep cut for any drug addicts in the room. But So what I'm interested in is because when I lived in Cork for I'd say 2.5 years before I became aware of your tour. And before I became aware of it, I've never thought as Cork is like a haunted city or like a place that has those stories.
Oh no! When I checked it up, actually, there's more sightings in Cork than most cities, and I think
Really?
it's bizarre, but I think partially because it's built down in the bogs here, so people are into stuff like that. There's water underneath everything. Everything's moving beneath our feet. Even the mud is moving beneath our feet. Buildings fall down. North Main Street, there's this building propped up on Partick Street. South Main Street, just at the end of the street over there, a building fell down a few years ago. So it's kind of got this kind of old worldy haunted, and the street alongside us, Old Norman Street, the Vikings right here. So there's been people down here for a long, long time. But the Celts would never touch a place like this because this is where they throw their sacrifices to the old gods.
Oh, yeah.
So perhaps it's something to do with that. This damp old city centre.
That makes sense. That is always prerequisite for spooky atmosphere, I guess. You know, that's very like Lovecraftian in that way. Do you have a favorite Cork-based ghost story?
I suppose the one about the nun. The nun is my favourite because, and actually, psychic people tell me they see the nun as well. So up in Maldron Hotel, which is again in Shandon, that was North Infirmary Hospital from 1720, I think, to 1987. I have to be really careful with dates because Cork people will shout at me if I get it wrong. I've been shouted on the street, by the way, so normally I vague out my dates slightly. So there was a nun working up there. A lot of heavy fevers, lot of ill people, a lot of poverty, a lot of sex work in Cork. They've left that out of the history books, by the way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of soldiers, lots of everything in Cork. Rough and ready. Dirty old port town.
Hasn't changed.
Hasn't changed much. It's becoming medieval again. It's certainly true. I can feel it, like walking around. Oh, it's becoming medieval again. Wow. Yeah, for sure. So this nun, anyway, was going to get medicine for a man with a heavy fever. And she was exhausted, and she made a mistake of sitting down for a moment. But she was so tired, she fell asleep. Woke up in shock, had been out for maybe 2 or 3 hours. The guy's blazing with fever, runs to the medicine, brings it back, puts the spoon in the man's mouth. Ooh, he gasped like this. His last stinking breath, she goes into shock. It's her fault he's dead. Well, her fault in that she didn't get there in time. Failed as a nun, a carer, a Christian, a Catholic, a nurse. Back to work into the next night. Can't sleep. Into the next night. Can't sleep. Catholic gift that keeps on giving, right? 5 nights, no sleep. She collapses dead on the floor. So people still say they see her all around Shandon trying to give people medicine.
Oh, still trying to save people.
Yeah, well, yeah, with a spoon.
Wow.
There's different people with spoons there now, but yeah, essentially that.
Maybe that's the medicine she's given them now. Who knows? Who knows? That's so fascinating, though. So does this nun have a name, or is it just?
No, I don't know. She was an old Dominican nun. She was never named. There's 1 or 2 stories about nuns around Cork, monks around Cork. Rabid dogs keep appearing. Rabid black dogs with red eyes keep appearing as well. Maybe it's after a bottle of whiskey or something. But a lot of people are seeing this rabid dog.
Rabid dogs.
Yeah.
Do you know where that? Because that is like pretty unique to see ghost dogs. Is that from something in Cork history?
No, I don't know why that is, but there's a few different sightings of this rabid black dog around Cork also.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
And that's people believe it to be a ghost, not like a badly trained pet or anything.
Yes, yeah, I think they believe it to be a ghost, or maybe just a very late night. I'm not really sure, but yeah, the people have seen it numerous times, and they say it's a phantom dog.
Oh, wow. Yes. Anyone here ever seen the phantom dog in the room?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Give it time. Give it time.
Tonight. That is so fascinating. So, because I always am fascinated by ghost stories. I'm fascinated by them because I think they build community in a very interesting way. You know, where like ghost stories, like the classic is like people telling ghost stories around the campfire. And some people get together, they all share this common fright, and they all share this common experience. Do you think that as a city, as a city and as a county, that Cork is connected by its like paranormal folklore? That there's something that's bringing people in Cork together?
Well, Irish people in general are very superstitious, and there's a whole world of fairy stories and otherworldly stories, and some of it's to try and explain the cosmos, this lower world, upper world, middle world. So some of it's along that lines. And with the ghosts, I suppose it's a connection. Oh, and actually Halloween. Halloween is an Irish celebration anyway. It's
I was about to get to that next.
I jumped ahead.
No, you can jump as much as you want.
So it's the start of the Celtic
You've been talking about drugs all night. You must be very jumpy, you know?
Later. So So Samhain is the start of the Celtic New Year, as you know. So, and it starts in the darkness, because that's how the Gaelic people, the Celtic people would have thought of things, that it would start. And it's almost like the human body. It starts in the darkness in the womb, and then by 1st of February, it's in Bollock, in the stomach, and then it's born as it goes along. So I love this way of thinking about the year, from darkness into light and around. And this is apparently when the veil between the worlds are the thinnest. And in Mexico, they think like this as well.
Wow.
So in Pialtana, in spring, and also this time of year is when the worlds are meant to be that little bit fuzzy.
So that's the same mythology in completely different places in the world.
Something,
then.
there's something in that. I don't know what that is.
Do you think it's that it's connected, or do you think it's just parallel, just by chance evolved?
Could be parallel, I imagine. But I don't know. I mean, there could be some paddy went out there in the 1600s and got 2,000 children now. I mean, it happened with the Cherokees. But but I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. Did some Irish man go over there and tell him? But yeah, that's so fascinating. Because I actually am. That's something I'm very personally interested in, is the way that Irish folklore and Irish mythology has always influenced horror and frightful stories a lot, you know?
Dracula,
Banshees, all of it.
Dracula is actually an Irish word. It comes from Dracula. Bad blood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he was an Irish writer. Dracula. Sounds better in Irish. No, Dracula. Bad blood.
He was, I thought he was Transylvanian, no?
Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. He was.
I thought you meant Dracula was Irish.
He was. Come here. Let me bite on your neck there. Go on. I'll only take a pint or two. I swear. It'd be great, no?
Bram Stoker was Irish. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, well, he might be Anglo-Irish, but he was Irish. Yeah,
that's enough to claim, I guess. Yeah. And that's so. It's always been an inspiration in horror stories. If you say Dracula, even, because I find it very fascinating. Because I'm from a tiny village in Germany, right? There's 600 people, and every time Halloween would happen, there'd be 12 to 15 kids who try and do the fucking go to the doors and get the candies, and all the old German people would be like, get out of here. That's that American shit. We don't believe in that. You're not getting any candy on me. And I'm so upset now, because now I've learned that it's an Irish tradition. I just love to go back to them and be like, you're fucking wrong. And Dracula was Irish as well. And how do you think that's happened? That it's kind of drifted away from the Irish tradition of Halloween, that it's now become this...
Well, I guess it just became more commercialized as it went down the line. But I mean, they used to hollow out turnips here. It wasn't pumpkins because they didn't have them, and they would make them gnarly little demon creatures and bring them around, you know. So, but gosh, I suppose it just became very big.
That's what it kind of like with most holidays, that it got commercialized and it became, because we bought all of this decoration in deals for less than €50. So I do believe that. Is there any Irish folklore horror story that you can think of that you really like?
Whoa, gosh, I can't think at this moment. Gosh, Daniel, give me a second. Any folklore stories that I really like? No, I don't know if there's anything bouncing out at me. I mean, there's plenty of local tales, there's one horror tale that comes from Kinsale about the lady who was to be married. That I quite like. There was a lady to be married in the Charles Fort in Kinsale, just outside Cork.
Yeah.
And she was married to the son of the general, and he made a mistake because the son Oh no, she was the son of the general. Let me get it right. She was the son of the general, and she'd married this gentleman, and he went up to the fort walls and he fell asleep, and the general thought that it was a soldier asleep in position and shot him dead. And then the daughter came along and realised that her husband had been shot by her own father and threw herself off the side of the fort and died.
Gnarly.
Gnarly.
That is good. That is good. Oh wow. And that's where in Kinsale, you said?
Kinsale, Charles Fort.
Oh, my God.
The story's a bit longer than that, but it's all I could remember. And you
summarized it pretty succinctly, I think. Yeah. Wow. It is, because I have a list of a few places that I was going to ask you about, right? And
sure.
See if there's that, because I am just I'm here in Cork for 4 years, right? But there's a few places always have given me the creeps in a weird way. And I think the big one is the St. Anne's.
St.
The mental
Anne.
hospital. You know that one.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
that one.
I've had friends who went in around there when it was derelict. But that has a horrendous history.
Horrendous history.
Horrendous history. They treated people appallingly there and then kept the money for themselves. So it's a really sad place. It's a beautiful old building. Half it burnt down there a few years ago. So I had friends went in and checked out the place. Yeah, it's desperate. And people live there now. And the windows only open so much in case because they were worried the inmates would throw themselves out. So, yeah.
That shows you how bad the housing crisis is. That they were like, we'll renovate this mental asylum.
But yeah, and look at the size of it as well. It's huge.
Yeah.
And
It's gigantic, actually.
It's gigantic and buttressed. It looks like a castle. But back at that time, if you are anyway manic, you might get thrown in there. It just needs one or two people to sign you in. You're gone.
Yeah.
We locked up more people here than many other countries. So maybe you're a little bit manic, boom, gone. Maybe you are a nervous lady, menopausal, and your brother wants the house, we'll get you locked up. Like lots of people locked up for no reason at all. 2 years in there, you're institutionalized. You're not going to make your way back into society again. It's all too much.
Yeah, that is a terrifying place, I think, especially. Yeah. That's one that's always, because I used to live at the bottom of that hill. So every time I would like look out my window, I'd just see the hill with the fucking mental asylum, you know.
The size of it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Is there any specific stories from that place that you know of? Or?
No, only that, and that there's records of like how dismal it was there. So obviously the staff were keeping the money for themselves. And once you're in, you have no rights.
Yeah, no.
So anything could have been happening in that building. It's like, so that is a very scary place.
There might be more to still be unearthed from that then, to be honest. Yeah,
I imagine.
Would you ever move in there?
I wouldn't suit me, no. I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Rent's pretty cheap. I've looked into it. What about? Because I went on a tour in this place, and there was a few exhibits about it being haunted. So I wanted to bring us to Cork Jail.
Yeah, that's a fantastic building. Open 364 days of the year.
Yeah.
I've been up around there as well. Yeah, I don't have the stories in there, but I know that it is like really beautiful old building and really, really interesting place to be. Do you have the stories, Daniel?
No, that's why you're here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but I don't. Not from there. You gotta go.
They're not the German jokes.
They're not on my tour. They're not on my tour. I'm not doing their job for them. No, I know it's meant to have loads of stories because it was a prison for a long, long time. There's tunnels underneath it, I can tell you that.
Yeah?
So there's tunnels to get in and out.
Why did they build? Was it to escape or?
Oh, yeah, or maybe somebody's up to shenanigans. Or bringing people in and having shenanigans.
Oh,
Could be any world of reason for that. There's a lot of tunnels in Cork. The ones in the city centre, it's too wet. But once you go off the city centre, there's various tunnels around the place.
There's a lot of tunnels.
Yeah, because of the old British bases on Barrack Street and stuff as well. And if you even go underneath some of the bars, you'll see there's all these cellars.
Yeah.
And they link and link and link. And they've built a wall at the end. But you could go for quite some distance underneath Cork if you knew the way.
That is probably a very scary place to be down there.
I lived in one of the houses. Oh.
I thought you were going to say you lived in one of the tunnels.
No, Wellington Place. I was actually in between houses, which means I was semi-homeless. Right, so I ended up in Wellington Place on Barrack Street. And it was an old barracks because Key Co-op owned it at the time. And they said, you can move in for a few months. So I moved in there. But I couldn't go into the kitchen. The kitchen had a microwave, but I got downstairs. And my room was fantastic, frozen, but fantastic, okay? Beautiful old building, old English soldiers' base. So the walls in the basement were about 6 foot thick, 2 meters thick, designed to take a cannonball. Black mold down all the walls. One little microwave. I lived on meals like this. I'd go down and press the button for 2 minutes and kind of get nervous.
Yeah.
The stench and the bad feeling as soon as you went down into the cellar. I went, what has happened in this place? I don't really know. But I'm taking my dodgy lunch and taking it up to my bedroom and eating it there.
Yeah, well, Jesus Christ. That sounds like you lived like Edgar Allan Poe there for a while. That's pretty wild.
Short while.
Yeah. That's a good inspiration for telling spooky tales, I guess. You know?
Oof, yeah, well, it didn't do anything for me, that place, no. But my bedroom was lovely. It was just a cellar. Just a cellar.
That is fair enough. Fair enough. What about Spike Island?
Not been out there either, on my bucket list. I know Old Jail as well.
Yeah.
Interesting place. I can't talk about it because I haven't been there, Daniel.
That is fair enough.
Yeah.
Neither could I, so what am I expecting?
Yeah.
But I only have this down because I have a joke about it in my set. But the Elizabeth Fort was quite a fucking weird place for me to see as well. Because you go in there and they have like these heads of Irish people on spikes and everything.
So at the end of the street, North Main Street and South Main Street, there would be numerous heads on spikes.
Yeah.
So when you came to town, you knew not to mess around or you'd lose your head. So that was how it was. And most people were dead by the time they were 30 or 40 anyway. Everybody's drinking beer from morning, noon to night.
Oh, wow.
Like, don't worry about arthritis. You're just going to drop dead. Your liver's going to fall out. It doesn't matter. You're dead anyway. It's a damp old city. It's a short life. So heads on spikes on both ends of the city. Generally 3 or 4.
And where would it just be on Barrack Street all over the place?
No, right at Northgate Bridge and
Yeah.
Southgate Bridge. That was the way into the city. It was one street in Cork City, so heads on either end.
And who'd put them up?
And Normans, English, whoever was in charge.
Wow.
Yeah, and apparently Elizabeth Fort has a story as well. There's some headless guy there, someone who got beheaded.
Yeah?
So sometimes people see the body or even see the head rolling down the steps in Elizabeth Fort.
They see the head of the headless guy.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
down.
yeah,
Oh
something.
wow, that is. If I saw that, I don't even know how I'd react. That's pretty much the list of places I had to ask about. But I'm genuinely very curious. Do you think Cork is one of the most haunted places in Ireland, or do you think there's other places in Ireland that would be a much more paranormal place?
Well, according to the statistics and the amount of people who have seen things, then this place is considered the most haunted place in haunted city in Ireland. Yeah.
And where because do people report it? Is there like people who keep track of all the sightings?
Yeah, there's loads of psychics. Sometimes psychics come on my tour, but I'm more entertainer than a psychic, whatever.
Yeah.
And they come around so I have one group next week and they're coming. So we'll walk all around and they'll tell me what they feel in each different place, you know. So this is one of their destinations that they come to. Yeah.
That's interesting. So a psychic will come on your tour, but they're trying to argue with you?
No. But I try and entertain them, but they don't laugh so much. Actually.
Oh.
So when I crack jokes, they don't really laugh quite as much. I think I need to ask them more questions. I think they want to tell me stuff.
Do you ever get while you're doing the tour? Do you ever get random Cork people come up to you and be like, "Have you told them about that?"
No, they say more. They say things like, "He lying to you.
He's lying to you.
It's all lies. It's all lies. It's all lies." Or I'll get it if I don't get the exact date. I'll say, "Oh, it's 18." So I was April the 19th, 18. See, they'll throw dates at me. Or if I get any facts wrong, so I've got really careful with my facts, or else I vague them slightly. If I can't think of the exact date, I'm like, yeah, 1820s. You know, so either way, but they love throwing comments at you.
Yeah, that's what when we had Kieran on, he said the same thing that nearly every tour you will, some local will come up and give out to him.
Oh, they're not shy.
No.
They're not shy, and they're very proud. Yeah,
that's so brilliant. Brilliant. But this is probably why they have so many ghosts. Too proud to go away.
Yeah,
They
maybe.
stick around.
They don't want to leave. They want to leave Cork. Like they should have a little T-shirt. With the
Yeah.
Cork bit, you know. Cork
Even
goes.
after my death, I never go to Dublin.
Yeah. Staying here. I'm staying here, and not going. Not going. Heaven can't be better. Heaven can't be better than Cork. And that, no way, boy. No way. I'm staying.
I think it's a beautiful note to wrap this up on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Damian Punch, everybody.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.